All right. Well, let's talk about game one.
Yeah, game one, man. What it ended up being an exciting game. You and I were sitting here a little like, this could and probably should be more of a blowout, but it wasn't.
No, we did forecast that.
We were like,
in the first half.
You got to be up by more.
They're only down by, 12, and they had 20 turnovers?
You got to win by more than that or be up at least. Mark Daigneault, who is the coach of the Thunder, switched the lineup. You and I are in the air right before the game. Rob G goes, lineup change. We're like, wait, what? What are they doing? And so the conversation becomes, who is the blame? And is he to blame simply when you look at this loss for the Thunder? For me, he is a part of this blame, but I first have to go to the players. And I'm going to tell you why. You just said it. If I told you you have 20 turnovers in the first half, you better be up by 20, minimally. Minimally. If I told you that you averaged 20-something points, about 21, 22 points a game points off turnover throughout the season, and you had 11 with 25 turnovers throughout the whole game, that is terrible. What that does, number one, you continue to make them feel like they can't compete because it looked bad. We're sitting here, me, you, Rob G, Monty, I kept going turnover, and we start talking about a new subject. I go turnover because they kept happening.
Yeah, but they weren't capitalizing.
And so that's, to me, the singular thing I'm going to first point out is there's no way you cannot have points off that because what it does, Rob, those are backbreakers. If I'm picking your pocket, come down, whop, hit a transition three, crowd's going crazy, that rim starts getting bigger for you.
And it's a 5-point turnaround. If you were going to score on the other end, it becomes 5 points.
And my point here, it kept them hanging around. You didn't do what Bane did to Batman, Rob G, because I know you didn't see it, Rob. He broke Batman's back.
How you know I didn't see that movie?
Which one was it?
I don't know.
Okay. So he broke his back. Batman always get beat up a little bit. Nobody ever picked him up in the air and broke his back.
I watched Batman with Adam West.
No, not Adam West.
Okay.
Not pow! Pam! Not that one, okay? No, this was Bird.
That was a campy Batman.
And he broke his back. And my point is, the Thunder with 20 turnovers in the first half, you're supposed to break their back.
Rob G didn't see that movie either. He was too busy with the kids. He
saw that one.
Did you see Batman?
He saw that one. Yeah, look, you see how he looked at you too? Offended that you would ask?
Like, what?
So my point is, that's number one. Now, if it's going out of 100%, I'm going to take 70% there, and I'm going to take 30 to the coach. First of all, you switched the lineup. But, all right, if that's what you chose to do for whatever reason.
But it is weird. I'm still thinking you leave yourself open because normally when you've had as much success as the Thunder.
68 wins.
Why are you changing what you do? You know, we're going to do what we do and force them to change, not the other way around. It is backwards. Avery Johnson did it with the number one seed with Dallas.
The Mavericks against the Warriors. 08 Warriors, the We Believe Warriors.
And they won. They won the series.
Yeah. And I look at, too, it's okay. If you chose to make that decision, you still have to be nimble enough to say, all right, we're going to switch some things up. And Hartenstein, I'm not acting like he's, Rasheed Wallace or something, but he had 9 and 9 in 17 minutes. So I'm going to give him a few more minutes, if simply for just the size, if simply for us to take advantage of some things on the inside, if simply to have some guys who can block shots. And lastly, Rob, and then I'll give the time to you on this, they did not defend the three ball well, which is what the Pacers do better than anyone right now, in that second half. That was a big, big loss to me in the second half. They let them get off, 66 points in the second half, and a lot of that was three balls. And to me,
the number is minus 21 in 3
you can't be minus 21 in the three balls. So those
huge.
are the three factors for me. Majority goes to simply points off turnovers. If I have 20 turnovers from you, I'm up 20, especially the way they were playing. But they weren't scoring and capitalizing, so it ends up being a mute point. Okay, I gave you the ball back. You didn't do nothing with it.
Right. No, I get it. It's again, I mean, you can look at it, and obviously Halliburton makes a big shot. If he misses the shot and they survive, you win and you just go forward and you let it. Exactly. Yeah. But it was a wasted opportunity. You can't lead the game the entire way and give it up. And the three-point shooting you talked about, even the lineup change is questionable where you make people go.
Right before the game.
Really?
Or maybe an announcement was. Maybe they didn't.
You know what I mean? Right.
Yeah. It was just
but still, like what's going on here? Why are we changing what's been done all year? And I think that is huge, but also, and you just wonder, like, and I'm just thinking out loud.
Mm-hmm.
In late in the game, I'm not going to let Halliburton get the ball. Like that. That's
the only thing, Rob. That was the advantage. They didn't. Rick Carlisle not calling timeout.
But
he
you know
got the ball. We're all in scramble mode.
But you get my point. Is even in a game that's that close, that situation, I gotta cheat. You know what I mean? I know you don't want to leave anybody open.
Anybody but him.
Anybody but him, and I just wonder. And I get it. It wasn't like you could set it or whatever. I was there with Michael Jordan against the Cavs, and when they got the inbounds, there's no time to pass it to anybody. I was just like, dude, I'm sorry. I would have to two guys like on top of him, and they got to pass the ball into somebody who's wide open. Because Michael is the only one I'm worried about making that.
It was a great defensive play.
It was.
He just said, "No, I'm gonna hang a little longer."
Greg Elo didn't give him space. He was on top of him without touching him.
He just hung in the air longer. Like, oh, you're back down on earth. Okay, watch this.
Okay, and he still made it.
Yeah.
So I look at that, and I wonder about it. But again, the game was lost because of not capitalizing. I can't remember what the exact number was, but they didn't take advantage. It just
I think
wasn't.
It's 25 turnovers. They only got 11 points. That's embarrassing.
Yeah, that's the number. That's
That's
right.
embarrassing.
Like seriously,
truly embarrassing. 11 points,
Rob? That's nothing on 25 turnovers.
25 turnovers, and that's the game. If you score on 5 more, then that's potentially 10 points at minimum. Could be more. And that should be regular. They average around 22 a game off turnover. You got 11 on 25, 26 turnovers. That, to me, was it. Another point.
From the Fox.
That is coming from the Fox Sports Radio guys. Chet Holmgren, you take him out. And I understand they're playing threes, and he might – I mean, you know, their bigs are shooting threes and they're hanging out on the arc, and maybe he lost a little bit of what he does well, you know, blocking shots, changing shots. But he's also a scorer. He can shoot. He can hit threes. He can pump fake, get to the right. So I think he might have overthought himself, Mark Daigneault. And I also think this is a disadvantage to blowing everybody out all the time, where you're not comfortable. You said the cardiac cats with the Pacers last year, this postseason, they're getting used to these kind of games.
Right, and they know they're never out of games. No matter what's going on, they're never out of games. And they play for these moments, like they just buckle down, they make shots, they're not afraid. And that's what makes them so tough.
And they got the most clutch player of all time, believe it or not.
Crazy.
The heck? How you change your name and you were overrated 2 months ago, most overrated. Now you're the clutchest guy of all time, most clutch player. What the heck?
Bob G.
I'm making up words.
Yeah, I got a question for y'all because I agree. I think the turnovers, obviously, when you get that many turnovers.
You got 11 points is nothing.
You got to do something with it. But you started the conversation. We started yesterday's conversation about Daigneault changing the starting lineup and tweaking something that had worked for them all season. This might seem counterintuitive, but could you make an argument after what we saw yesterday with the lineup change and even the closing lineup where they bench both of their big men? Is OKC almost too deep? Where it's like we don't know who our 5 is to either open a game or close a game. We don't have a set group of guys where we know no matter what's going on, we are closing or opening with these guys and we'll figure out the rest in the middle.
I understand what you're saying, and that could be a problem in that you normally know on a team, and they do have so many players that they can count on, but normally you do know who's going to be out there.
Here's it.
Right?
We're closing with this.
Right.
Because that was a conversation
no matter what.
Coming into last season's playoffs where it's like, hey, yeah, you guys having a really good year. Maybe turn 2 or 3 of these bench dudes into one marquee starter or something like that you can kind of, like, you know, hey, when it comes down to the last 3 minutes, we're going to go with SGA, J-Dub, Chet Holmgren, player X,
Can I give you an example of what you're saying,
Right.
Rob G? The death lineup with the Warriors
Exactly.
that they had. They knew exactly who you're about to get this small ball version of everybody can shoot past dribble, and we're going to make the right
play
play.
this style,
Yep.
and this is what we're going to do for the last 5 minutes.
And that death lineup was killing people.
And on the flip side last night, OKC pulls both of their big men, which they only played 40 minutes combined anyways, but then they give up a couple of offensive rebounds, leads to them end up losing the game.
Right. And rebounded, what was it? They got out rebounded by 17?
17, yep.
Right? Isn't that the number? I mean, that. And then you're not using your big guys.
Harstein looking
Come on,
at
man.
what the hell? Yeah, it was just a bunch of things that I know they're sitting there like, how the heck did we
You
lose
might have
that
to look
game?
at it and be honest and think about the coach, to be honest, on some of these things. more so than like Shea having a terrible game. That wasn't the case.
Man,
or somebody
38. He might have the most quiet 30. We ain't even talking about 38 from him.
or somebody making a who was the player on the Bucks where the ball went through his legs? You remember?
Trent Jr.
Remember he had a great game too. He made all these shots, and the ball comes to him and it goes.
You called him Gary Trent Jr. Buckner. That was out of line. I can't believe you would do him like that.
Man, that ball went right through his legs. All right.